Good day, everyone. Good to see you all, and as much as you can see through a camera. But it's good to see you and talk with you always. You know, I keep doing these videos forever, actually, so someday we'll probably reach some degree of saturation, but keep on those questions. I really appreciate them. I apologize if I don't get always to them. I'm going to try to come back in this weekend and shoot some more. These are some question and answers for you. And some of these are a little long, but I'm going to go ahead and read. This one in particular I want to read because this is a guy that about walked a similar walk, although I didn't go that far off, I don't think, but I went off myself a little bit, and I wanted to read you this. I wanted to talk to him about this. Yeah, this is Steve from Colorado. But, you know, life is what it is. It's tough here. And we go through phases. And we get so strict sometimes with self-discipline that sometimes it breeds narcissism. I remember that when I came out of the woods, I said I found the answers to life, you know, in terms of out-of-body traveling in the God worlds. And I found, you know, tissue regeneration. I didn't know the herbs then, but I knew that the fruitarian lifestyle was the king of all of them because I'd tried all of them. I tried macrobiotics, I tried vegan, you know, and I realized that you keep getting deeper into the body, you keep getting more energy, you keep getting more chemistry, I don't even know how to describe it, you keep removing the resistance in the body to energy by removing the obstructions that create that resistance of energy. And I don't know how to describe to you athletes the level of endurance without fatigue that you can get into. It's just, and I mentioned that in a couple of videos in the past. We have a couple of fellas that are way out there now that are, they're just not, they're proving the point. It's not about calories, and it's not about how much you eat. Some guy just won a bike race with eating very little. He's been on a fruitarian regimen. He said, my God, I can't believe it. He said, I can feel the power in my muscles, and I never got fatigued. And I thought, you know, I've seen this many, many times. I've seen it in myself, and it's always worth working for that. And you guys with the strong genes, you guys are the ones who can tap in levels I could never tap into because of your genetic genes, you know. But I want to read these and try to get as many done as possible for you guys. I know we have an awful lot of videos up here. And I just appreciate each and every one of you that take your precious time and learn about your body, your health, simplistically, and how to get yourselves well. Keep it simple, sweetheart. Don't make things complicated, because as soon as the mind is always going to be chomping at you. But what if? But what about this? And, you know, all those things. That's the mind. And there's a time where in your life you have to grab knowingness. You have to grab what you know to be true. You work different things, and if you don't, out it goes. And the Steve story is a good example of similar stories of mine and probably many, many others. Nothing shameful about it at all. It's life. And the fact that we can share at these levels are important because we have a lot of bros out there that went my way and stopped and got off of the case and pulled them away. I've just been lucky that the passion burns inside of me for God more than anything. But that is everything. That includes the dynamics of the living and the raw and all of that other. Not always possible, but I don't let it get me down one way or another. We live life, we come, we go, we travel, blah, 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 blah. It's you that you have to get a hold of, that consciousness beyond the mind. And let me tell you, you can't believe the journeys, the lucid dreams, the incredible stories of masters and spiritual beings working with you. I mean, story after story. I mean, it's just, there's nothing like it. Waking up from the Dharma, the drama. So this is Steve from Colorado, and let me read you a story a little bit. I'll try to move it on. It's so refreshing hearing your perspective on health, especially your history, as your earlier years mirror my own. During my youth in the 60s, I loved music and had similar photos playing in a band at the age of 10. I think I picked up my first guitar probably around 10. But we've always had the piano at the house, and Mom always forced me and my sister to play the piano an hour every day, and then we had a professional teacher in there. And it's like, at the time when I was really young, I didn't really like it. You know, when you're forced into something like that, but music just moves through my beingness. So it wasn't something I hated, but it was something, and I had a lot of migraines from all the milks and stuff, and it wasn't fun playing the piano 1 hour a day with migraines and stuff like that. But I appreciated it when I got in my band, and then I got a Vox organ, and that really helped, especially, you know, the old songs, Woolly Bully, and all these sort of things like that. They need organs. And so, believe it or not, this was way back when you had your 4-member bands, and then our band had 5 members, and I played the 12-string and the Vox organ. And so I played both of those things. And it was that's when bands were expanding. The Beatles were expanding from just a rhythm, a 4 or 3 strum rhythm, to, you know, all kinds of instruments, and, you know, just really Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. I mean, just really expanding their music and the different instruments they brought in, and orchestras. And I mean, back in the first, you know, it was real simple 4-member band, bass, rhythm, lead, you know. And then as a young adult during the mid-70s, when I became a vegan, fasted and shopped at local farmers markets where you could actually get ripe fruit and vegetables. I learned from reading books by Arnold Ehret, Bernard Jensen, Herbert Shelton, Norman Walker, and other greats back then. And these were the greats back then. If you were privy to get a hold of, let's say, Health Research as address, then they had all the books. If you've never notified Health Research and looked at their repertoire of books, it used to be much, much bigger. They've condensed it down, and I'm sure the reason is people don't appreciate them. But if you want an old book, they find it and then copy it, and then they sell copies too. And they've got so many rare spiritual books and health books you just can't find anywhere. I'm not into books anymore, but I'm telling you, there's a time I sucked those things down like a good organic orange. I also read books about living in the present moment, in the now, and practiced and lived this way for many years. Also, as you mentioned, I also knew no one who was thinking and living as I was at the time. Now, you get pretty lonely at that. Some of you guys are going to find that way even now. Where you live, you're going to be alone. But remember, you're the light giver. You're the light bulb in the darkness, each and every one of you guys that are helping yourselves. You're getting into the raw. Your energies are going up. Your consciousness is going up. You're practicing going beyond the mind. So your light is going like this. You're connecting to your huge light of consciousness. So you are the light in the darkness, each and every one of you. And take that rightful place, by the way, not from a narcissistic viewpoint, but from a knowingness viewpoint. You've got to work with knowingness, and at a certain point, you have to quit chasing thoughts, because they'll take you in places, and they'll just keep taking you away from truth and reality. And it's okay. It's the game. But there's a time to awaken, you know. I was doing well until I get this. And this is, I mean, I heard this on Fox News where this medical doctor was praising vaccines, and I'm thinking, you just have your heads up your asses so far, you have no clue. You know, people mimic what they're told so much. They haven't researched and thought it out. I told you about Dr. Tenpenny. She's an ER physician, a top notch, and there's a neurosurgeon, both. She's got vaccines. I think I showed you her tape. This Tenpenny, what CDC documents and science reveal, which is nothing more than toxemia, neurotoxins and stuff, and that's exactly what they experience. These guys need to be paid accountable for this stuff. And whether we do as a society or God does individually, they can't escape karma. You just can't escape it. You can't beg to get away from it. You can't escape. You can't escape the way creation's put together. You have to learn the rules of the road so you can protect yourself, from your own mind. And by the way, Steve, this is the universal mind in action, by the way. This is why you had read the same books, the same thoughts, the same everything. Absolutely. This is just, how many times have we gone through this? This is created creation. Anybody can hook into these levels of thoughts and have the same journey as we do. Absolutely. You know, I've always said that if you'll just kick back and sit back and relax and watch your life, it'll run itself. And you'll enjoy it better because it won't beat you up, because you're detached from the events that are taking place. And you're better capable of when you do create, you create what is beneficial for you, helping you to, one, learn how to grow out of this level, and two, to be healthier, you know. So anyway, I was doing well until I took a boatload of vaccines prior living in Central America to study herbology and natural health and work in a clinic down there. It was a good idea. Within just a few months, my whole system shut down and I quickly got chronic fatigue and couldn't digest anything. That's because these vaccines are a lot of neurotoxins. And neurotoxins literally shut down the body. And I just can't believe that we're still in the 21st century living in such mud and ignorance, unawareness. These mental thought grooves that exist there just haven't been broken, and they need to be broken. The children have just suffered immensely from vaccines. The seizures, the kids with the seizures from vaccines, and I mean right after vaccines. There's no way you could deny these neurotoxic vaccines didn't cause these problems. Most of these kids have problems immediately after, within a day or two even. So there's nothing else to blame. And it's just man's unwillingness to grow and to open spiritually. It's still this me, narcissistic, ego, money, that sort of thing. That's so low. It's just, it's just low level thinking and living and experiencing. So the average human is just living a life, a shallow life of empty thoughts and propaganda, and they don't have any knowingness of their own. And that keeps them away from their true identity, and it keeps them locked in an ever-moving hellhole down here, as far as I'm concerned. So within a little while, his whole system shut down, blah, blah, blah. For a few years back in the States, I kept losing weight, and after medical doctors told me that there was nothing wrong with me and that it was all in my head, boy, there's another good one. So if a medical doctor says it's all in your head, or it's a autoimmune problem, or it's your age, do you begin to start to realize that they don't have any awareness about what causes things? And their focus and the way they're looking, they never will? Exactly. And that puts them out of the loop. That puts them as an alternative practice of surgery and ER. And warning, don't go there to get your symptoms treated, or you could not come out of that. This is some serious times out here, and that consciousness, that killing machine consciousness, is being protected. It can't be protected long because we're the God people. And I tell you, you'll watch this. When you start channeling God, it'll start opening doors for you and taking care of things. I remember I was security at Darwin, was an Eckmaster for a while, and then he passed. But he was one of the Eckmasters after Paul Twitchell. And Paul Twitchell, in my opinion, was the map maker. Really, the mental side of that, the knowledge, the awareness and all that. Then Darwin's job was to bring it into the now. So Paul Twitchell brought the teaching out as the science of bilocation, the ability to be in two places at once. And then Eckankar started changing toward this way of life that it then took on. Then when Darwin's time was up, Harold came along, and he had not matured enough into mastership to take his chelas into the soul plane and above. No offense to you, Eckas, listening, but this is the truth. You have to wake up to that. Know Harold quite well. He always, us higher initiates, he always was blaming us for everything. And I thought, well, that's no master. Blaming their priests and everything for everything. That was ridiculous. But Darwin brought it into the now. And he was, I forgot what I was going to tell you about that. Yeah, I'll come back. Anyway, see, wrong, and it was in my head. I visited numerous natural health institutes around the country trying different diets, juicing and fasting, but with no success. None of these places really knew how the body worked, and no one had as much knowledge as you are sharing with all of us now. Well, you know, my friend, it just, it comes after years of putting it all together. Some of us like to know how things actually work, and tired of propaganda and bullshit. Things that don't work, and these things that don't work just keep circulating. The urine therapies that we talked about yesterday and other things just keep circulating. It's like, oh my God. It's that groove in the mind again, that record. Things just keep coming around in cyclic cycles, and you can see it. Just the faces change, the names change, but same similar cycle, just like we're reading here. This gentleman in the younger years did exactly what I was doing. Interesting how God shakes it up a little bit, but still send down the same road. Even so, I decided to go all fruit, and after 3 years living on 100% fruit, I was still sick and weak. I was living in South Carolina, and I remember buying cases of oranges, grapefruit, and peaches, all right, by the way, and having a meal of a dozen pieces of fruit at a time. I loved the food, but couldn't figure out why I was still so weak and with nagging brain fog. Well, I tell you, this is why I think the herbs are our little sweethearts. To tell you the truth, guys, they really come in when foods just can't do it. Detox is so long and arduous when you don't have the herbs. That's all I can tell you. They're just such a difference. I just don't even have words to tell you. Most of you have already experienced that already. Barely being able to work and living on almost no money, one day I decided to stop eating and fast until I felt better. Well, that's an interesting thought. And since food wasn't doing me any good anyway, well, it's a good question. Why eat if it's not doing you any good? A local farmer I knew let me rent a small camper, and he had parked next to a small peach orchard. You see how God put everything right in front of you, everywhere. I fasted a guy on peaches one time. I mean, this guy, nice stories. He had for $50 a week, so I took him up on it and stopped eating. I had only read about fasting in books and knew no one who ever did it. Me neither. You just did it, you know what I mean? But it made sense to me, and that's what I say about you guys. You have a lot of us guys that have done those things in the past, so you can take off what we've experienced, but you're always going to jump in and do it yourself. Like Dimitri, man, you went in 42-day fast, you had complications, but that helped you to understand what happens if you do long water fast too quick when you're really toxic, you're full of sulfur and everything else. And that's been my point, is better to wait on water fasting until you get fairly cleaned out and then take off and enjoy that level. But I think if you look at this, no creature has ever been this toxic, this acidic in nature to test water fasting at these higher levels. And of course, Dimitri and others get in trouble sometimes doing these things, but it doesn't kill you, but could. So you have to be careful. But I've not only known a few people, man, I've only known one, and that was McFadden, but, that guy was stupid. You don't break a fast with boiled potatoes or anything like that. That's what the story is, but who knows. When I remember, 28th day, the 28th day of a water fast, his head cleared up and I felt a surge of energy throughout my body. And this surge is what I'm talking about. But it gets more and more and more intense, more intense, more intense. Pretty soon you realize you're in a world of decay and you're hooking to worlds of light and power and energy and awareness and love and beauty. And I mean, it's just like, whoa, what's this world? And then it becomes, when you come back from out-of-body travels, those that have had out-of-body travel, do you ever notice this world doesn't seem near as real? And for some of you, you'll notice you'll get that stacked effect that it feels very claustrophobic, as this is one of the lowest worlds in the chain. Yeah, let me tell you. Hard to breathe sometimes. Kind of like someone pulled a plug that was blocking the flow of energy. And that's what I'm saying, Mucus, acids, all of these things are obstructions to the flow of energy. Neurotoxins, of course, are obstruction to the flow of nerve energy. And this is just what you had, a huge dose of neurotoxicity to shut you down. And that's the problem. Neurotoxins are not fun to play with at all, and they're much more difficult to get rid of, in my opinion, than excitotoxins. Okay, Okay, after I'd been a vegan for 7 years, those last 3 as a fruitarian and then a 4-week fast, something's got to work right. Of course, I was in my 20s at the time. Look at that, you know, that sounds just like me. I immediately went out and got a job working in an apple orchard, picking boxes, and began to take regular walks and hikes in the woods, regaining my strength. And I'll just keep on going, working on a temporary basis. This was 1980 by now, and when they wanted to hire me full-time, it scared the crap out of me, thinking that would be my life. So I quit and went to college instead. He, with 6 years, got a degree in finance and an MBA, then later a 20-year career as a business executive. Wow. Yeah, right out of the sun, right? This was never my goal in life, but I felt the only thing I was a brain that worked out. I was a little lost as a person. Remember that I had wanted to study herbology and health in the mid-70s and was living in the present moment, meditating without a care in the world. Well, you got to keep in mind that we all have desires and inner wants that we want to do, but survival is the key, and that's what happened to me. You know, I lived in a little 13-foot Scotty travel trailer. I lived in my office. I tell you, I lived in a little bitty Nissan pickup with a little topper on it. I lived in there for a while. I mean, you do what you do, you know, and you're seeking the truth because you're awakening. It's time to awaken. All you on these similar journeys, it's your time to awaken. It's your time, and all you guys on this channel, you're plugging into not only health, but a much heightened sense of awareness and what we would call spirituality. And it's good for everyone. Even if you're not thinking of spirituality, it doesn't matter. You know, spirituality is just being happier, opening up to love, recognizing everybody as connected as one, you know, a heightened sense of consciousness, all these things. The ability to see things others can't because you're watching instead of thinking. The bad news is that without any reinforcement for my health ideas, I blame my health problems on the vegan diet, not the vaccines. Absolutely. There you go. Lymph system or anything else and gave it up. I've never done that. I've been lucky with that, Steve. I just never got to that point. But I knew exactly that I did everything to myself that I did. But there's so many circumstances, hard to explain to people. Okay? You talked about how that energy opened up in you. It blew my doors off. So I had to find something. I had to balance. And it's just another level of thinking. And I was talking to Yaz about this about a month or two ago. And, you know, he's getting up there. He's way out there. And a lot of you guys, and Dimitri, you're going to get way out there, man. And then you got to come back a little bit. That's why I say dig in and go, baby. And then when you feel you have to pull back a little bit, then find that balance till it keeps you that love and respect for everyone, all of that. So he gave everything up, basically eating meat and all the rest of the next 30 plus years. Yeah. I've been in and out of stuff like that, maintaining only tolerable health. Then, about 5 years ago, deja vu, I traveled to several third world countries in Central America and again took a slew of vaccines. About 10 in all, as I was afraid of catching another disease. See what I'm saying? And this is so important to learn, that this is all about the terrain, that you don't catch anything. This is about a terrain or a culturing medium. Can't blame microbes if they're hungry. You have to blame the food source. Okay? And that, if you're going to look at that, and if you're going to blame everything on microbes, but to tell you, when you have a cold and flu, it isn't about the microbes, it's about the mucus and congestion. It's about the acidosis. The body, notice what happens when what you get out when you have a cold and flu or bronchitis, pneumonias, things like that, you get out mucus. That's because you put it in there. You know that when you eat foods that the body doesn't want, it creates mucus. Plain and simple. And the most mucus-forming foods, everybody should know this now, is dairy products. I think people need to go after the Dairymen's Association for perpetrating lies and causing so many lymphatic problems leading to cancers, because I can tell you dairy products definitely take you down the road toward cancer. No question about it. That's the system that all cancers are in, and that's the system that dairy products are by far the worst. Why we keep sucking down milks from other animals, I don't get it. And why we feel like we need a milky substance in the first place. I don't get it. People feel like they have to suck on milk all their lives. It's like, I don't get that. But I did for a lot of years till I hit, you know, in my teens, and then I didn't realize even then it was the milk, it was the problem. Almost right away, I began losing energy and having several bowel problems until eventually ended up with severe chronic fatigue, brain fog, tremors, oh shit, night sweats. You know what? And they force you to take these vaccines, and that's another reason I don't travel much. I don't take these things, and I will not take these things. It's just not worth it to me. It's hard enough to get to detoxify the body as it is, to put willingly and knowingly put in these toxins, and it shows you the ignorance of the world. You know, and I was talking to the guy from Japan. And by the way, from Japan, I want to thank you guys. This is a friend of mine. Bought me a heal-all herb. I can't even pronounce it. Some reishi and other mushrooms. Now, if you saw this mushroom, this tea is supposed to be for poisons and things in the body. And I'm going to crack it and make some tea and find out what we're dealing with here. And of course, but if you saw this growing on the side of a tree or on the side of a stump or something, and you were hungry, would you rip it off and start eating it? You know, I always have my questions about any of the mushrooms, you know, although I'm from a place where we had the morel mushrooms. And morel mushrooms, oh my God, are they good. Thanks, my friend. I appreciate this very much, and they will be utilized to their max. Let me see. Okay, so thank God a year and a half ago I found your YouTube channel and began relearning things I had forgotten long ago. Yeah, well, you're welcome, my friend. I love you, man. I tell you, that's just what we do. Have to tap each other on the back once in a while and wake us up. Because we're sleeping, you know, we get lost. And so I'm glad to oblige, you know, and I love people like you. I know your journey right off. And these are fun journeys because it's fun to go off on your own and on a world or a journey of discovery, you know, and trying to develop awareness beyond conditioning, because we live in such a, you know, creation is all conditioned. The only way you can pull out of the cycles and everything else is to get away from the mind. That's where the cycles are. The mind creates creation. It's that simple. Consciousness is the propelling force, no question. That is you that takes on the bodies to experience. Relearning things I had forgotten long ago. Perhaps the timing was right. Of course it was right. As over a period of a few years researching healthy living and healing, I have already quit eating meat, grains, dairy products, and beans. Done some fasting, 21, 10, and 7-day fast. This is a good guy right here. Getting rid of some symptoms, severe brain fog, arthritic joints, and chronic back pain. See how interesting? The friggin' foods, baby. The friggin' foods. And some of this stuff you don't even want to call food. You know? I don't know if I want to call dead animals food. You know what I mean? This past year and a half, I've been using your herbal protocol. Oh, thanks, man. And going for periods of months on all raw and then all raw fruits for about 5 months, and did a 30-day water fast last summer and with some benefits, but getting results very, very slowly. Well, make sure your kidneys are filtering. This is the whole key. Look at your eyes, Steve. You know, get into that whole iridology look. That's exciting. See what you're up against. Get your kidneys filtering. Get those adrenals up, because you've been hit with neurotoxicity majorly. So you still got to clean a lot of that out. So pop up those adrenals and head on down that road of cleaning the bowels out and getting the lymph out, because that's where you're going to finally get rid of all this stuff, is through that system. I know that my kidneys... Oh, we all think alike. See what I'm saying? I know that my kidneys don't filter well at all, and that's the reason. There's never any sediment at all this time. Holy crap. Well, that's why you're feeling slow progress. So, adrenals, kidneys, but you've been hit with neurotoxins that hit the adrenals big time. So, you know, keep working, man. Keep working that neurotoxicity out of you, because that's tough. You know, I told you I poisoned myself with quinine. That's major neurotoxins. That didn't make me happy for quite a while. I was actually wondering why that experience, I had to have that, because it was so devastating of an experience. I thought I'd paid my dues, but as soon as you think you have, bam! So you know what? I just live in the moment to give, love, 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 and whatever's whatever. There's nothing, okay, and my lip seems to be very thick and constipated. Well, that's what you're up against. I've never been able to have any kind of healing crisis, even though the long water fast. In fact, during my last fast last year, the only symptom was extreme weakness. No kidding. Adrenals are obviously trashed. Yep, for sure. You're right on. You know what I like about you guys? You really get it. You can identify body parts now more, and it's just great. You know, so many practitioners do not have the awareness you guys have after attending schools. I love it. We're after to show the world you don't have to sit there. I mean, notice the kids that are having trouble with academics now. Ask yourself why. The main benefit after the fasting was that my chronic fatigue was gone and I no longer had any intestinal distress or constipation. Even so, I still lack energy, am tired a lot, can only use my brain, a few hours a day. Well, good, then put it in a chair in the back and be conscious, making it difficult to concentrate and get much done. Well, I think you know you've been pulling yourself in that eternal now stuff, and so this is going to teach you to shut that brain up, and it might take you in ways that you didn't expect, you know. Because sometimes if you don't go, it pulls you screaming and hollering, if you know what I mean. I've now been on a 100% raw diet since last Christmas, and I'm on my 2/3 month protocol: kidney, adrenal, upper circ, bowel, adrenal glands. He's on a bunch of herbs. Good. Getting more clarity now. I drink some fresh organic green juices for a couple of days in between my fruit meals, but that's about it. I think my lymph system is like hardening sludge. Well, it takes a while to hydrate. You know, it's just whole process of getting the adrenals and kidneys working. At the same time, you're slowly getting these base foods in that are astringent rich, which is your fruits and your berries, and you really start this movement, this slow movement. It'll get going like the little choo-choo train going up the hill. I think I can, and then pretty soon you get over that top. But this really takes you right into the world that you know, and that's your lymphatic system. Thank God we can take all the greats and we can build on them. And then you guys build on us, and we just keep building and building and building. And this is how you change the world. You are right about truth. I have not found any other modality that refutes or makes any sense in the light of what I've learned. Oh, thanks, my friend. What causes so-called diseases and what can be done to enable the body to achieve health? It was just a few years ago I thought I was pretty fit for my age, but I'm 60 years old. Yay! So you're a little younger than me. So we were doing this about the same time. This year I'm planning to live the healthiest years of my life going forward. Steve from Colorado. Thanks for that. But I wanted to read that because I had just started reading a little bit of that before I sat down here, and I thought, you know what? For those, you know, I just want those purists to know that if you're purist, don't be an ego purist. You know, keep your ego to yourself. You do your very best. You run as long as you can. We're all behind every one of you guys. You know, if you can do better than we did, you do better than we did. Matter of fact, I please hope that you guys do better than even I did, and I'm better than some of these other people did. You know, Steve's story mimics a lot of our stories. Life takes us. You know, it's almost like God says, runs you through this tremendous time of awakening and cleaning, and then it pulls you and puts you back into a world that shows you that where you have to, it's like it titillated you and now you know how to get there, but now you have to go. It's like doing LSD or window paint or something like that. You get into that now. If you don't know how to, if you're strong enough and not trip, you get into that eternal now doing those. Then you realize you can do that naturally and you don't need to use the drugs. So some people do drugs constantly and not learn from using them to have a natural buzz. And so I want to teach people to have a natural buzz. Just high from life, high from being high from being awake, being aware. Sorry for the length of that one, but I just felt that would be important. Hello, Dr. Morris. This email came from Guatemala, Central America. I love Guatemala. You guys got some good watermelon sometimes down there. Hoo, hoo, hoo. My question is regarding my 2 kids. My girl's about to be 3 years old while my baby boy is 11 months. You know, parents, I love you guys, and your kids, and just all I can tell you is please work on the health of your kids and yourselves, particularly your kids. Because I can tell you, in this world, they'll grab them away from you and they'll destroy them. And we're at a pretty bad place now in that way, and that has to explode open. So we can't just society can't keep butchering our children for the sake of what? Let me think. For the sake of money. I noticed that my boy was allergic to formula at the age of 2 months, and that tells you automatically a couple things. First, his lymph system is probably maxed, meaning that he couldn't handle the congestion and mucus that's produced by these formulas. That's number one. Number two, most baby formulas are I don't know who designs them, but they're high-fat, high protein formulas. This is not what you see in nature. Babies do not get those levels of milk. When you get into the herbivores, the bigger herbivores, yeah, you're going to see a much more concentrated milk, more aminos, more calciums, more things like that. But you're looking at a baby in a year gets what? Maybe 15 pounds or so. A baby calf in a year gets several hundred pounds. So you've just got the difference is huge. And so we've got to quit identifying ourselves with other animals of different vertebrates, because that's like mixing apples and oranges together, calling them the same. You can't do that. We're a certain species, and we flow pretty good with the primates all the way down the line there. In terms of physiology of the body, anatomy is a little different, but not that far different compared to, let's say, a horse or a bear or something, or a hog, which medical doctors love to use hog tissue, pig tissue. Unfortunately, my wife's milk production completely ceased about a month earlier. This led to me to the WAPF raw milk formula, which automatically ended the GERD symptoms. And that coming back to that, you might kind of watch that, because your baby could have a little hepatic or pancreatic weakness. This is probably more hepatic than pancreatic, to tell you the truth. So that's another little, when they have a little hepatic problems, they tend to get colicky and throw up with these high-fat formulas. And I've got mine coming out real quick. Remember, I told you mother milk by nature, and your babies are going to suck this down. The trouble is, like I said, I'm going to create little gorillas all around. But let me tell you, these kids are so intelligent and aware. It's amazing. And this is, of course, when you guys go to coconut milks. You get Thai coconuts and get the milk from there. Of course, and then after about 3 months old or so, introduce fruit juices and maybe some fruits when they start doing this. And can gum some fruits there real easy, and some melons and stuff, absolutely. Like I said, my grandson is 2 years old, and he's a little brick, what house. I mean, this guy is strong, and he just sits around eating fruit all the time. Bananas, he'll peel off a big thing of grapes and polish them right off. It's amazing. It's amazing. I'm proud of that kid. 3 months later, 3 months later, the allergies and GERD came back. Well, I tell you why. Because milk, any milk that's not human milk from a healthy human, is going to cause problems. So we are frugivores, so it moves us right into the coconut milks, the fruit juices. These are all highly nutritious, and berry juices. Let me tell you, these are just little humans. They need the same food we do. And I'm telling you, they get strong on the fruits. Fruits mature the brain and nervous system. If there's anything that's compromised in our babies, it's the brain and nervous system. Then, of course, all the GI tract and hepatic problems. So I came back on the raw milk, so I switched him to the broth formula. Soon after, the raw milk formula started to become yellow and continued this way until about a month ago. Now, you got an 11-month-old baby here. There's no way, man, that your baby, sweetheart, should be on milk at all. Not one that has this problem with them. I'd take them off of all the dairy products at 11 months and get them right on fruit. A lot of bananas, get them used to eating a banana, peeling and eating a banana. Grapes all the time, watermelons, berries. This is the time to start getting them going into the fruits. But I can tell you, you're going to have a baby detoxifying on you. And babies love high fever, so don't freak out when your baby starts to detox when you put them on fruits. They're going to detox just like anyone else, the little humans, soon after the raw milk. Okay, formula started to detox. Okay, I took him to an Ayurvedic doctor. Oh, good. Who took him off the formula and started detox based in fruit juices, cooked vegetables, avocados, and coconut milk. If I just read on, right, guys? We soon learned that he does not tolerate coconut milk nor water, vomiting almost immediately after intake. All right, so I would get some liver gallbladder herbs and start working on his liver gallbladder. At the same time, I'm going to get into those kidneys and adrenals and lymphatic system. I'm going to get this kid moving, because what you're seeing is just why he can't handle the formulas. And I'm telling you, you're probably going to see liver gallbladder problems, if not pancreatic as well. Matter of fact, if not, and the pancreas is good, this is even more reason why you want to go to the carbohydrates, the fruits and the berries and the melons. Not vegetables, not at 11 months. You want to go to the fruits and the berries and the melons. This is where all the nutrition is. This is where all the power is. This is where the detox is, but this is also where the regeneration is. Even vegetables hard to regenerate tissue. Isn't that amazing? So, I mean, it's just the way it is. Sorry for the long explanation. That's not a long explanation. Sorry for the long explanation, for everything concludes that my boy is not gaining weight. He is growing and advances through all the stepping stones. Well, you know what? If his liver is, go back to reasons why, guys. Go back. So this young man probably has the hepatic, I mean, you can just pretty much nail that down. Gallbladder, probably liver. So that means that that's weak. That what else, if you're looking at a tree and you see these branches, and the reason I give you this analogy is to help you understand how simple this is that when the lymph system's backed up in people, whether they're babies or adults, it gets backed up everywhere. And that includes in the GI tract wall, in the wall of the stomach, in the wall of the small and large intestines, in the wall of the liver, in the wall of the pancreas. And if there's already a genetic downslide on any of these tissues, it just gets more. So my guess is you're going to see a hepatic downslide on this child, and you just got to take some herbs for that liver and start getting and enhancing the liver function. And then he'll be able to tolerate lipids better. But you need lipids, so you need this kid to deal with the lipids in his foods. So that's going to be a hepatic or liver and gallbladder. You're going to clean him out anyway, and you need to do that. Because that's malabsorption. He is growing and advances. So I want to make sure I'm giving him and my daughter the very best possible nutrition, assuring proper bone, teeth, brain, emotional, and spiritual development. Alvaro. You know what? That's good. I think your thinking is perfect. Of course you would want your child to be strong and knowing that. So you want to clean them, you want to move them. And you don't have to worry about detox at this age, because moving them to where they need to be in a fruit and berry and melon diet, they're going to detox naturally. But at 11 months, I do the Fab 4. But I can tell you with this child, I definitely do the liver gallbladder formula. I would do one kidney formula. I would do one endocrine gland formula. I would do one lymphatic formula. And maybe open up a stomach and bowel. But at least I would do those 4. Might do a little parasite in there just to kill any fungus or worms or anything got from the mom and all that. So I would definitely do the liver gallbladder, lymphatic 1, kidney number 1, endocrine gland, and maybe a little parasite M for a short period of time. You're going to buy, those formulas are going to last you forever, because you're only going to use, 11 months old, you're probably going to use 5 drops maybe of a formula. 5 drops. Okay. Here's greetings from Teresa with a Z. Thank you for all you do. Thank you, Teresa, for watching. I'm just thankful that you guys are taking a hold and going. It makes me feel good. All these years of hard work, seeing how you all are getting better, it's just really does my heart well. It just I've just looked at this world so long, and it's just needs to, you know, the cycles to come on, and we need to be there for the cycles. And now, I am currently on one of your detoxes, and it is helping. I have a question about an oxygen therapy called Extreme O2. Interesting. A friend of mine just bought the machine that takes 100% of oxygen from the atmosphere and concentrates it in a 100-liter bag. She then gets on an exercise bike and works out for 15 minutes and breathes 100% oxygen. Holy shit. She does this 3 times a week. Her oxygen concentration in her body went from 86% to 97%. It also healed her eczema in about a month. I have been told that it's great for everyone. Do you have any experience with oxygen therapy, and what is your opinion on this? I've had experience in hyperbaric chambers and other forms of oxygenation, but not with Extreme O2. You know, of course, there's always the thought of oxygenation, increasing oxygenation. Now, she made a comment here that the lady had an 86% O2 saturation. That's way down there. So this lady's got a serious problem here. And you're going to go to the lungs, and interstitially, you're going to see a lot of congestion in her lungs. So you want to pull that out. The other thing is you're going to teach this lady how to deep breathe, how to breathe properly instead of thoracically breathing, how to breathe from the abdominal first and then the thoracic second. That would be. First of all, I actually have no problem with oxygen. Now, with this, she only brought herself up to 97%. You really want 98 to 99% O2 saturation. 97, you're going to start working on yourself. So she needs to start cleaning her lungs out and getting herself turned around here. Oxygen doesn't cure diseases, but it neutralizes acids. So here's the other thing, though, with that. Pure oxygen will burn you right up. Anybody that's ever been in the hospital, been on oxygen here, 2 liters or whatever, we have to be very careful because we'll burn you real bad if we're not. Intubation, you know, where you're intubated, you've got to be real careful with oxygen because you can burn someone real bad. And if you've ever been intubated, you'll know what that's like for a while with the burned throat and stuff. So this is real strong stuff. You have to be real careful. Oxygen is not going to, you don't want oxygen to come in and just plow the field there because it can get destructive too. So you have to be careful with that. Pure oxygen is hot, hot, hot. Burns. That's why you have to have a mixture. That's why the air has a mixture. It also, so my opinion. Yeah, I think you just have to be real careful with concentrated oxygen. I've seen what it's done before with people. So, you know, you just be cautious and everything else. But I will say that if her O2 saturation was only down to 86, and it should be 99 to 100, of course, that's how much oxygen the blood is saturating. It's how well you're saturating or oxygenating your blood. And it's a rule, if you can do 99, you're up amongst about everybody else. 98, okay. 97, warning lights are coming on. And if you were 86, that is so low, I don't know. That would be like, whoa, what's going on? We got cystic fibrosis or something, you know? I mean, you have to be real curious to why her O2 saturation was so low in the first place. So you got to fix that. And I no wonder she's craving oxygen. The average person doesn't have an O2 saturation that low. We have a little thing like this, and you just stick it on your finger, and then you press it and see what it is, and see what it comes out. And it'll give you the heart rate, it'll give you the O2 saturation. Let's see how saturated I am with oxygen. Today I'm at 97%. Not good. Needs to be 99. But I tied one on last night a little bit. Oh my God. Yeah, okay. I feel lucky to have stumbled across. Oh, thanks, sweetheart. Who is this? Oh, this is Becky from the UK. Hey, Becky from the UK. I am type 1 diabetic. Age 33. Have been diagnosed 6 years ago. Okay, now here's the thing, Becky. And this is why Marcie's fighting it so hard. She's been on insulin 30-some years, honey. Insulin is a hormone. And when you take insulin, it's like taking a steroid. You lose your ability, your cells, whichever ones produces whatever you're taking, lose the ability to do that. So the beta cells on the islands of Langerhans in the pancreas produces insulin. And these beta cells, you know, a lot of surgeons actually do a beta cell replacement or a surgery. Amazing. But it's enough to say that the longer you're on insulin, the harder it is to pull yourself out of here, because you wreck it's like playing tug of war. You know, I had a lady in yesterday and had her blood sugar, or 2 days ago, and had her blood sugar checked. It was 250, and I said, "You don't feel that?" You know, and so people don't check their stuff sometimes, and they get themselves in trouble a little bit. So that's a type 1 at 33. You really want to take off after this, because you want to rebuild those beta cells at the same time you're taking insulin, which makes them weak. So that's why some type 1s take a little longer than type 2s to get after it, because just the very using of insulin is counterproductive and to regeneration. So, but they have to. So you see, there's some of these cases we have, guys, are catch-22s. But do you let that stop you? No, you don't let anything stop you. Might take them a little longer, so what? What else you going to do? You going to not fix your kidneys and everything else tied to these things and then end up going down in worse ways? My journey has taken me from those who say diabetes cannot be cured to those who say only type 2 can be cured to those who say even type 1 can be cured. This gives me hope and fills me with excitement. We've had a lot of type 1s eliminate their problems. And we've had some that work hard on them. We have some that keep their blood sugar so low and stabilized, but they're still fighting it. We have every level. So, I mean, there's not one clear road where everyone reaches this at the same time or anything like that, particularly in dealing with this. And remember, there is the neurological type 1s. And this is real important to understand that one, because sometimes it's nothing to do with the pancreas. It's the nervous system feeding the pancreas, which of course is the autonomic. And thanks to the university out of Canada, we now know that there are neurological diabetes. My God, I still felt that university should have won a Nobel Peace Prize. You give them to all these other people for no reasons. I would strip Obama of it right now. I mean, Jesus, that was so stupid. I tell you, the level of man is so bad. I can't believe this consciousness here. But you want to have always hope and a knowingness that you will. That knowingness opens the doors for the information to come in for you to take care of that. If you're not opening your doors for that knowledge to come in, it will not come in. You're the one controls all of that. You control how much of the door you want open. You control all of that. You forget that when you come down here, because the power of others sometimes can dominate you. One becomes codependent a lot in the social consciousness, because down here, darkness and fear and separation can rule. However, the reason for contacting you is my husband, who is, now I never heard of this, but you know, that doesn't mean anything, but this is a tetraplegic, C6, C7, which is considered a quad, but tetraplegic. He had an accident which severely dislocated his neck at C6 and 7, severely dislocated it, and therefore severely damaged his spinal cord as it was forced out of line. No kidding. We both were very active prior to this accident. He loved movement and was grateful every day for the ability to run, cycle, kayak, etc., etc. So as you can imagine, his disability has hit him hard. He is paralyzed from the chest down with no hand function, minimal biceps, and very limited triceps. Yeah, that's about C3, C4, C5, or C5, C6. He's C6, C7. That's even a little better, but still, meaning there's very little movement up here. There is some. I did a C3, C4 quad, and she could only move her wheelchair with her tongue. She had a little lever here designed. She used her tongue to give her action and motion. She actually made me a stained glass piece here with her tongue. That's why I do this, guys. He has remained as active as possible. He currently stands in a standing frame 4 to 6 days or days per week. Now, there are what they call stand-aid devices and everything else here, but I tell you what, none of these have ever, this is important that he does this, don't get me wrong, but these have never regenerated tissue. You saw Christopher Reeves on the stand-aid devices. Miami Project, uses all these things, and they never cure, and they just keep bringing in money and playing the game. Regeneration is at the cellular level, and you can't bring external machines in to do that. You must regenerate at the cellular level. So, my opinion, before I finish this right off, is a diet and a life of fruits and berries and melons. The best you can possibly get. All that he wants. Fruits, berries, and melons. This will keep the decubituses down, the UTIs down, urinary tract infections. This will move lymph, transverse though, and getting the bowels moving. There's a lot of problems with quads and paraplegics and advanced MS cases and things like that. And that is getting the urine and the stooling down to where, because they have to transfer. And when you're a quad, you don't transfer. You have to have help to transfer. So these are problems, serious problems on the road to getting well. So here's a lovely wife, and she's got some work ahead of her taking care of her man. But what you want is to know that that work is leading him to the future of getting out of that chair. And I wouldn't take no for an answer. Just because other people don't have the answer doesn't mean someone doesn't. And that's what I'm saying to you guys. We have the answers of regeneration. And this is perfect. Because after you get into it, while you get that lymph moving, then you can use tonics that strengthen. You can even use antler, which I used a lot of antler and ginseng on the C3, C4, and I totally had it reconnected in 11 months. Totally reconnected 11 months. I have a video on her. And you can buy it. It's cold, so it doesn't show where she can go like this. She has to take her time and work it. But let me tell you, that's just cold. But in activity, she could do leg lifts and handshakes as she will, and it just showed you what you could accomplish. Just that alone, tremendous, tremendous, tremendous. Now, the healing crises of some quads and paraplegics are not fun because they're emotionally oriented. And this gentleman might not be too bad, but I'm telling you, sometimes the emotional side can come out real bad. This girl would cuss me one minute, praise me the next, laugh with me the next, and cry the next. All right, but that didn't last that long, a couple months. Stands in a standing frame 4 to 6 days per week, completes functional electrical stimulation, FES leg cycling 2 to 3 times per week, FES, AB exercise 4 to 6 times per week, waist standing, gym-based exercise using medicine balls, ropes, hanging bags, etc., hand cycles. Now, what you miss, and you probably are doing it, I haven't read this totally, but what you really want to do is dig in there big time with the raw and the regeneration. Get the kidneys filtering, get the adrenals up, and I don't know, you probably have had this adjusted and kept in line, right? Because you want to keep all those vertebrae in line, and then do those neural lymphatic points down his back, and keep working with those neural lymphatic points down his back, get his kidneys filtering. You're going to do the same thing to him, whether he's sedentary or active. Doesn't matter. You're going after that regeneration of the nervous system. Don't waste your time with greens too much. Maybe start with some greens at first here, but quickly get beyond those. And then you'll be pretty good. He would do more, but is limited by the fact that his shoulders get very tired. But of course, don't over push it though. I'll say this because no one is. I won't say no one, because I do have a gentleman, Christopher Reeves, called up here. He's well known in terms of physical therapy and is able to help some minor quads and particularly paraplegics walk again, but minor ones through physical therapy and warm mineral springs up here. But you can regenerate that tissue physical exercise, physical therapy does not regenerate, and in some cases can be worse because you're creating activity in a stagnant lymph system. Because after this trauma, everything, he becomes sedentary, everything really backs up. And if they're not on good diets, then acidosis is twice as fast. It's just, it's just not good. And you don't want to overtake nerve energy out of them. And you never want to push yourself where your nerve energy is so down that it takes you a while to get it back. No, that's not the answer either. So we have been working towards him being as healthy as he can despite his disability, and in hopes that if a cure came, no hopes. Make it so. I'm serious. Make it so. I don't live in the world of maybes. If you live in the world of maybes, then good luck. Go in the worlds of I will, and we will do this. Absolutely. Would physically be in a better state to reap the benefits of this, as far as based upon stem cell research. You keep following that road, go ahead. But get on the highway to regeneration on our side, and you'll be so much happier. The other side's full of darkness. And I always told you about stem cell stuff. But then I came across you in your comments that you have cured, dramatically improved people's disabilities from spinal. My pet love, dear. That is my pet love. There's a gentleman, he's a para. I think he's on the Facebook. I believe he was definitely walking here, starting to get that whole upper, got his sensations back, started moving his legs, I'm pretty sure he's walking now. And it only took him, 6 or so months. Get on Facebook and see if he's up there. He's a paraplegic, though. Not that that's any different, other than the different levels where you're working at and how that affects the different tissues down below. I would be most grateful if you could please advise on how best to take his wellness to the next level and how we can give him the best hope of curing himself. Well, I do the standard, get into the kidneys, get into the adrenal glands. There's your neurotransmitters and the steroids. Good for 2 different things. 1, enhancing myelin sheaths and strengthening the nervous system. And 2, steroids for all the utilization of minerals, anti-inflammatories, blah, 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 blah. Matter of fact, in spinal cord injuries now, they're trying to give as many steroids as possible. Initially, you get that inflammation out, the person sometimes has to get up and walk. And then the thing is, you see the difference of people that have had trauma like these levels and have gotten up and walked, and others haven't. And I've mentioned this before, that if you go to the adrenals and the lymph, you'll find those answers to why in those areas. Because it depends how acidic you are, how low your adrenal function is, how weak your myelin sheaths are, to how all this damage how the body deals with this, and how the parathyroid and calcium utilization, you have to look at that. You have to look at all these things when you're going after someone this involved. Why didn't his body regenerate that trauma? Big trauma, but your body can regenerate big trauma. You can get literally tore apart and the body sit there and rebuild itself. So you have to look at the whys, and the whys generally fall on the acid side of chemistry, of course, because that's the corrosive side. That goes back to the lymph system, that goes back to the adrenals, that reaches into the nervous systems. But with that said, there's so much you can do. You get a salve, a healing salve. We have a Heal All salve coming out. Get something like that, or a comfrey with golden seal and maybe some marshmallow and slippery elm as anti-inflammatories, and rub it right on where he had that trauma. At the same time, go after his parathyroid and give him the superfood blend. High calcium, 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 but you're giving the parathyroid for the parathormone to utilize calcium. At the same time, you're going to start moving that lymph. You're going to work his back out. You can use hot and cold compresses over the injury or anytime you have trauma. Remember, hot is acidic, cold is alkaline, so you want hot and cold. You don't want to put heat over a highly inflamed area because it'll exacerbate the inflammation. You want cold, alkaline. Always acid needs alkaline to neutralize. And let me tell you, fruits, berries, melons, fruits, berries, and melons. Fruits, berries, and melons. Don't waste your time too long in the vegetable kingdom or you won't be happy. We have been eating mainly whole foods, plant-based for about 6 months. Him still eating meat and eggs on rare occasions. Won't get out of the chair. If he does that, he won't get out of the chair. That's all I can want to tell you. In the last couple of months, we have moved on to no animal products at all. Okay, I'll take that back. All right. And eating more raw, perhaps 70% of our overall diet. When you're at this level, guy, 100%. Don't take not even a bite of something cooked. You want 100%. This is a neurological, this is spinal cord. 100% raw. And 100% if you can move yourself up there to the fruits and the berries. And I would pound the darker ones. The blackberries, blueberries, the dark grapes. We still eat legumes, nuts, seeds, and some grains, millet, brown rice. No, we don't, do we, anymore? And pseudo grains, buckwheat, quinoa. We don't anymore, do we? And soaking nuts and seeds, no, we don't anymore. Fruit is eaten, but we tend to eat more veggies than fruit. No, we don't anymore, do we? I guess precaution to think that we should eat a balanced diet. No. Yeah, balanced diet. Who comes up with the balanced diet? Let me think here. American Dietetics Association, that's good. Some of the naturopaths have some friggin' weird idea what's balanced diet. I don't know where they come up with that. Most of us, all of us that are into regeneration are into the whole raw thing. And each species have a different type of food it's designed to eat. And you cannot get over the fact that the Homo sapien is more primate than he is herbivore. So it's hands down we're frugivores. You might be able to squeeze some omnivorish look, but to tell you the truth, these animals look totally different than we do. And you just can't get around this. We are frugivores, we're islanders. Even National Geographic believes the Homo sapien is an island species. So, yes, we've adapted, but not healthily adapted. Look around. There's hardly anybody healthy. So you got to get off of all these foods. Be the primate you are. Be an islander. Be whatever. But get your raw foods in and get up to the fruits and the berries. This is strict, but it isn't a cold and flu-like symptom you're dealing with. Right? Eat a balanced diet, not too heavy on one type. No, forget the balance. There's no such thing. If you look at how a primate eats in the wild, you'll be amazed. Now, there are omnivorish primates. I can get it, but look at where they are. When a primate has access to fruits, that's what they eat, predominantly. If they don't, then just like you or I, we go hunting for something. So just remember, that's our species, and you got to get there with spinal injuries. I've had a lot of experience with neurological cases, and you can believe me or not, but all I have to tell you is get up there and drop this other stuff. The longer you're in the chair, the worse it is. Other than the disability, suffers from a very dry scalp. All right, so that means his lymph system's backed all the way up in the brain, but wouldn't it be? Absolutely. So he's not going to regenerate to get these acids out of his head, out of his neck, definitely. And gas, bloating of the stomach. Man, he's eating wrong. And when you're in a sedentary position, it's even more so that you need to eat raw. It's even more so that you need to eat fruits and berries. When you're in a chair, you don't need to eat all these things. And if you eat protein in a chair, you're not going to be happy. You're going to constantly deal with decubituses, meaning holes on the butt, and you're going to constantly have UTIs, and you could trip up your seizures, well, for the lack of a better word in my mind right now, yeah, your tremors. I've never tried to get all the spasms out of quads and paras because I feel that some of that is essential to moving lymph. So if your husband has a lot of spasticity, use the antispasmodic formula. But we're not trying to stop all spasticity because you've got to have some movement of lymph in the body by the lymph vessels. And the lymph vessels are just like the blood vessels, except no one talks about them. And you have lymph capillaries, just like you have blood capillaries. Hello. You just don't hear anybody talk about them. So, one thing, get back to the fruits, got to clean up the GI tract, let's clean up his liver, clean up his, because as you go on our programs, we're going to go after the liver, gallbladder, we're going to go after the pancreas, we're going to go up. I also would use upper circuit, brain and nerve. No, I would actually use 2 circulation formulas, up and lower. I'd use brain and nerve number 2, and I would pound the lymph, pound the kidneys, pound the adrenals, parathyroid, always parathyroid in a quadrant para, and start moving out. If he's got crusty scalp, he's probably congested all the way through the parathyroid thyroids, and you can keep looking at his case even deeper to see if there was a pituitary. Try to snap a picture of his eyes. His stools are mostly often loose. Well, it's just telling you he's got a pancreatic problem then, and maybe even a hepatic gallbladder. But this would just be all acidosis probably from not being able to move lymph even more, because he's even more sedentary than the average person by far. What protocol should he follow? Does he need to go 100% raw? 100% fruit? I understand everybody reacts differently, but in terms of timetables, could we expect changes even small once within a year? I say that I would set a year in for him to walk. That's what I would do. I would say in the next 12 months, I'm going to be out of this chair. So even if it's standing on your own and doing some physical therapy. So set that year in, not to see a little better, to walk, baby. And so really hit that hard. Because a year on fruits and berries does a lot of incredible things to you, especially with the herbs. And as you go down the road, I want you to think of the tonics, like the gland tonics and the ginsengs and the antlers and things like this. There are some things that are so beneficial to the reconstruction of the spine and the spinal cord and the nervous system in terms of tonics. I do so hope you can respond to our questions on your next video. And oh, thanks, sweetheart. Becky, I'll be happy to, guys. That's the one thing. You hit me right where it's in my heart, and that is neurological conditions. These are the worst of the worst. And, of course, when you're always in a chair, your butt breaks down, especially if you're not healthy. And you're not going to be healthy as the acidosis buildups in the body. You know, it takes its toll. And then no one thinks about the caregiver, the woman or the man taking care, and generally a woman. So when a woman has to move a male that weighs, you know, close to 200 pounds of dead weight, it takes a toll on her health. So I don't know where you're at on that, but there's a lot of things people just don't understand with these sort of conditions, and they're so bad that I hate to see anybody in a chair. So unwind your karma, my friend. Get it done. Get yourself walking again. Be glad to help you, and you'll be in like flint. And then go on and have a life, okay? Can you help me with this one, Shannon? Can I read this on YouTube, I wonder? This is, I don't know, maybe I'll leave a name. I have a question for you. I have just got some blood results back from the doc, and it suggests I am hyperthyroid. I have previously been hypothyroid and suffered with cold hands and no energy, but now am hot. Okay, so listen. And this is when glandular will do. You'll see how strong these glandulars are sometimes when you start using it. I don't know if she's on a glandular or not, but if you're on a glandular, it can really increase your T3s or TSHs, depends which glandular you're on. It can really send them right up there. All you've got to do is stop taking them. And then that hyperactivity settles right back down. And it's a probability that you've enhanced the function of it to caboot. So you've increased the function of it, even though you might have brought it up a little too much. You just stop taking them, and it comes right back down. Not enough to freak out. Medical doctors freak out on the stupidest of things. It just freaks me out how they freak out. And then they end up hurting people. You know, oh, you have hyperthyroid. We'll schedule for a thyroidectomy. We'll cut that right out. What? I was taking the thyroid glandulars up until a few months ago. I was wondering if taking these for too long could throw me into a hyperstate. Absolutely. So you just stop taking them. Keep detoxifying and stop taking them. That's why I don't run people, this is a good case to show you, and you just don't run people on the thyroid or pituitary glandulars very long. Now, most people can handle a whopping hit with the adrenals, and I've had people on adrenal glandulars for years. Some people reach the max, and then you start getting a little jittery, and you might even get some anxiousness coming in or anxiety coming in when you're too much. So after a while, I just use them to pop up tissue and then come off and use the herbs. I was wondering if taking those for too long could throw me into a hyper state. It just temporarily does that, though. These are just tissue. This is just raw tissue. It doesn't keep the thyroid way up there or anything like that unless you kept taking them. And what would you suggest for the hyper? Just stop taking them. The doctor said I may just go back to a normal level naturally. And he's right. By taking those, we've hit it enough to where it could just go right back down to the right place it needs to be. And just keep going. Just keep, you're not hitting that anymore. I am taking the adrenal glandular still and was also taking the pituitary. See, here you go. You hit it way too hard. Pituitary produces TSH, which is thyroid stimulating hormone. TSH then trips up the thyroid to produce T3s, and then T3 is converted to T4s. I did see somewhere Dr. Morris makes an adrenal tonic. I can't seem to find that online. Yeah, we've got those. What has that in it? I am obviously in menopause as I am not bleeding monthly. Okay, so how old are you? If you're below about 50, 52, sometimes your menopause can stop from the pituitary gland. So you want to enhance your pituitary gland and see if your periods come back, and if they come back, then you're not done yet. And you knew it was a pituitary problem. Or you can do the female reproductive formula. And that's probably what I would do if I was you. Honey, I would do the female reproductive formula. Come off the pituitary. That's going to trip up the thyroid too much as well. So come off all the glandulars except the adrenal and do the female reproductive formula. That has chaste tree berries for the pituitary. It's just enough that I think you'll be in good shape there. I am retaining weight around my midsection, and it's getting harder to control that since my menopause. Interesting. My FSH level is 119. Normal menopause is 20 to 140. LH level is 63. Let's see. Osteodiol level is below 37. My TSH is now... All right, listen to this. Your TSH is now 0.07. You hardly have any. So I'll tell you, this sounds more like a pituitary than a thyroid. T3 is 3, T4 is 14. Those are all normal. But your TSH is very, very low. Where does your doctor say you have hyperthyroid at? I don't see where your doctor says you have hyperthyroidism. This is the problem with those guys. They don't even know endocrinology, and why they even play with that, I don't have any idea. So you're not hyperthyroid. Just because the TSH is that low? No. You can't blame that. You can't say you have hyperthyroidism. You might be running hot. Check your basal temperatures and see where they are. It's enough to say, though, you don't have enough T3 and T4 to really make you hyperactive. I mean, T4 is a little high, but I mean, that's within normal ranges. The TSH is so very low, and that is your pituitary gland, and that's where the problem is. So I would go back, just as I said, use the female reproductive formula. Don't use blood work to determine whether you have hyperthyroidism when you're looking at this. You want to use symptomology because they can hurt you. Is this still a pituitary and adrenal problem? Absolutely. How do I regulate the estrogen levels that seem to be so low? You just got to make everything healthy, sweetheart. That's all you can do, because if you play that game, you ruin yourself. You don't play that game. You go and make tissue healthy. You make the adrenals healthy. You get in the liver and make the liver healthy. And you start detoxifying, get these fat cells in shape, and all your estrogens will go into normal ranges. You're going to lose ovarian estrogen anyway if you're in menopause, which is for the uterus anyway, so it's not a systemic estrogen in my opinion. I would think I would still have to take the adrenal glandulars. I do agree with you, but this has dropped while I was taking the adrenal gland. I would still take the adrenal glandulars, but this has dropped while I was taking the adrenal glandulars. I guess the menopause thing probably did that. If you got suggestions, absolutely, Leah. This is Australia. Absolutely, sweetheart. I would continue with the adrenals. Definitely come off the rest of them. I would take the female reproductive formula. That'll help with the menopausal symptoms. Check my basal temperature inside of my arm. And look at that in the next few weeks and see what happens, because your TSH is really, really low. You can't surmise you have hyperthyroid because of that. If you're hot, okay, it does suggest that your thyroid's kicking up there. How hot are you, though? Check your temperatures, because you might feel hotter than you were and you're not. So basal temperature, check your underarms for about 3 or 4 days before you get out of bed in the morning. See where you are with that, but you're not showing evidence of hyperthyroid, in my opinion. Not really, not in the blood work anyway. This is Lillian. For lung fibrosis, what type of diet and exercise is recommended, as well as what type, if herbs? That's a good damn question. You know, there's nothing worse than cystic fibrosis, or fibrosis anywhere, really, but, you know, remember that acids destroy your body. Acids make your body hard as a rock. Acids literally make your fluids anionic, coagulated, and thick. Acids ravish your body with pain and decay. Acids come from the cells as they eat and consume their nutrition from the blood. They discharge their waste into the septic system, just like you would in your own home. Your septic system, of course, is the lymph system. The lymphatic system is the body's main sewer/immune system. And when you really look at it and you think about it, you'll really appreciate how the lymph system is designed. It's just that in certain circles, they didn't understand the role of the kidneys and skin as attached to lymph nodes and the lymph system. And if you don't attach eliminative organs to sewage, then you don't know what the hell's up. And that's been the failing of man on this planet, is the lack of understanding of how his body works. And so we have to come into these places like this and teach you. Anyway, this is just lungs full of, this is the lymph system not moving interstitially in the lung tissue, and probably a lot of mucus from life of dairy and things like this, and all this just strips down and hardens lung tissue. So, fruits, berries, and melons. Don't waste your time. This is the lungs. Don't waste your time with veggies right now. Go back later to them. Get up on the high fruits and berries and melons. I would do lungs number 2. I would do 3 lung tea, but I wouldn't overdrink, just in case you're so acidic that you'll get a little edemic in the lungs. 3 lung tea breaks up hardened sputum and mucus, which is what's causing the fibrosis. You know, you got to understand acids and what they do. And so, adrenal glands, nervous system to lungs, adrenal glands, steroids to lungs, kidneys, filters the lymph out of the lungs, get your skin breathing, check your thyroid to make sure you're sweating, get everything opened up. Learn to breathe abdominally instead of thoracically. When you breathe in initially, you want to breathe in your abdominal muscle down here, so you're pulling oxygen down into the lower lobes first. And you work it that way. Hyperbaric chambers. You can get into all kinds of things to help you with that. You can do castor oil, or better yet, some healing salves. I've got a healing salve back out now. It's be out soon, and it's got all your good oils in there. Your hemp oils, your coconut oils, your grapeseed oils. Plus, it's got all the herbs for healing. You can rub that on your chest. Maybe do a light heat source to drive it in, or before you go to bed, like a Vicks rub, do a Heal All rub or something. There's all kinds of things like that. And get ready to have some lung detox, because you're probably going to have some lung and bronchial and sinus detox with this. But you get your lymph system moving, just like we've laid out in all these videos, because that's what you're going after, is your lymph system, number 1. This is ulcerative colitis, has me not sure which way to go. Well, here's the thing. When Consider ulcerative colitis as an interstitial lymphatic constipation affair, and that your lymph system is the issue, not your blood, your lymph system. And this is serious in that it's in the wall of your GI tract. It's just like your interstitial cystitis or interstitial anything. So when they say Crohn's or ulcerative, they ought to say interstitial, because this is burning you from the inside out. It's the worst burn. There are burns from hydrochloric acid burns, but you can fix those pretty easy. The teas, now I have this new stomach tea, and it should be here any day. Get that stomach tea when it comes in here. That's for ulcerative tissue. But what ulcerates tissue? What side of chemistry? Oh, I heard you. Acids, and you were right. Acids. So you don't want to eat proteins, do you? No way in holy heck. You want to come off all protein, all your nuts, all your beans, all your grains. You want to come off of all your vegetables. You want to do your light fruits. You want to stay away from your citrus fruits and your acid fruits for right now. You want to stay away from your cruciferous family. You want to, which is your cauliflowers, your broccolis, your Brussels sprouts, your cabbages. Stay away from those sulfur veggies. You want to eat light. And on the fruit side, you want to have more than the subacid to the sweet side. I would suggest you eat small meals and eat more often. Dark grapes. You're going to find the grape is the king of food. The grapes are the king of food. I don't care what anybody says. In terms of having a tool for a practitioner to use to help people with ulcerative colitis. And it's still going to be a pain in the you-know-what. Stomach and bowel number 1. That's for ulcerative colitis and stuff, because you're probably switching back and forth between a little diarrhea and constipation. So you want to work that out in that way. You could do some steamed vegetables at night with a light salad maybe, but again, you want to stay away from foods that have any acidosis to them, foods that initiate hydrochloric acid. Even though this is the colon, you don't want to take any chances. I'd also do clean my liver, gallbladder, and pancreas as well. I was recently kicked out of a nursing program. Get this. Wow, I was recently kicked out of a nursing program. This email isn't about that, and I have spent the last couple of years going over the processes of the body, and we seem to always cover the disease processes, but don't really discuss a cure, because they don't have one, honey, and they don't even know what a disease is. They know the symptoms. Well, anybody can tell you what symptoms they're having. That's not hard. But it takes you smart guys to identify the causative factors. And there's not a lot of causative factors. It's not like you're in a world where there's endless causative factors. You don't have to go any far in your hand to mouth, or what you're putting on your skin, or what you're breathing. You don't have to go much farther than that. Treating, as you know, is cutting it off, out, or removing, or medicating it. That's right. It's probably why you got kicked out of nursing. You were better than that. We discuss cannabinoid receptors in the body, and then talk about cannabis, and it seems like never the two shall meet. Other than that's why people smoke pot, but I digress. Yeah. In 2000, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis and went on 12 pills a day since then, and more when it flares. 1209 at age 44, and 2 months after a full clean physical, I had a heart attack. Holy crap. Well, because no one fixed your ulcerative colitis, which was the same thing that caused the heart attack, if you look at it. If you go down and you say the final analysis, you're down to acidosis, you're down to the body's need to fight acidosis, whether it's with calcium or cholesterol. This is what leads to strokes or heart attacks, either stenosis or calcifications or cholesterol plaquing in the lymph system, squeezing the arteries. Hell yeah. So, but it would be, your body would be fighting this big time. Oh my God, she went down with a heart attack and had 5 stents put in my heart over 2 days and 2 procedures. Holy crap. And this is a young woman at 44 years old. It tells you right there she was born with weak kidneys and adrenals, which totally backed up her lymph system head to toe. And of course, if it's backed up in the bowels, it's backed up where? In the heart. But if it's backed up in the heart, where else is it backed up in? The head. That's why this is so, so important for survival of humans for the future, because there's going to be a whole lot of them. It doesn't matter what the World Health Organization's agenda is or the World Bank's agenda, because people are dying anyway, and they're going to die too. So, you know what? There's no getting away from it. I was told to go back to work and started having issues pretty soon after, and was later diagnosed with fibromyalgia. No kidding. I would say that should have came first, because you're systemic. It shows you, though, going to nursing and knowing the body, it shows you how systemic this problem is, doesn't it? Now, you first thought you just had ulcerative colitis, and then bam, MIs, and then bam, you know. So no. We need to move this lymph, because with lymph removes obstructions. Obstructions of the blood flow, obstructions of nerve flow, and of course obstructions of the lymph flow itself. I asked several doctors at the fact that they are both autoimmune, could they be linked in some way, and the answer is always no. But you know better. And I think after a while on this channel, you guys are getting a sense that allopathic physicians are the least aware when it comes to health, aren't you by now? You know, and it's not a kick to them, it's truth. Medical physicians are the least aware about health than homeopathic physicians and naturopathic physicians. No question about it. And those are the three main health modalities of the world. Although allopathy should be some alternative that you use in the back, not in the front. You can't kill people first. You can cure them up first. You know. I kind of surfed into your videos because I was looking at Lyme and wondering if maybe what I had is Lyme. Let's call it the same thing, sweetheart. Fibromyalgia, Lyme, lupus, same thing. Do the same thing for them. Everything comes out the same. Detox the same. Everybody gets well the same. Had thousands of each. I really don't think it's the wanting to find something. And that's the thing. Well, I'm glad you're saying this, sweetheart, because listen. Is this a male or a female? No, this is a male. Sorry, sweetie Jeff. You're still sweetheart, Jeff. But Jeff, it doesn't matter. Lyme's, fibro, it doesn't matter. In other words, the mind just needs to have a definition. And that's what's hard about the allopathy. They work from the mind. We work from the soul. We're much more knowing and powerful because we work from consciousness as opposed to conditioned thought. And when you work from conditioned thought, you're lost. So you can't tie the two together. The mind only sees in pieces and separations. It's only you that sees as one. Soul sees as one. All things as one. The mind sees everything as individualities and separateness. But it's supposed to have creation. So, and you expect those that take after the mind will see the same way. They see in pieces. So they don't see in the whole. And you guys have given privy to how you see in the whole. Therefore, you'll make far better healers because you'll know causative factors as opposed to treating symptoms. So it's really all good here. I really don't think it's me wanting to find something as much as everything I hear you saying in your video. That's right. So who cares what you label it? You have systemic, let's cut to the chase. You have systemic acidosis. Doesn't matter what tissues, because you can pretty much guess they're in all of them. They're all through your gut. They're definitely all through the heart. They're probably all through your brain. I mean, look at your symptoms. So this is a systemic issue. Look at your eyes. Get a picture of your eyes, Jeff, and see what's going on here. Based on my knowledge, is spot. Thank you, man. Appreciate it so much. Because you can back all this out and get all this out, and you don't want to, because Jesus, you can burn the colon only so long, man, and then you know what you're walking up to. You know, so you don't want to do that. You want to get this out of you and quicker. I gotta say, it's a lot of fun when it's burning you so bad. So the detox when people are feeling the full burn isn't always fun. But there's a remedy, guys. There's a remedy to that. And with this stomach tea, stomach and bound #1 Heal All Tea, I'd be drinking it, Jeff, and bring it into that body. Even using the capsules of Heal All Tea. They're all anti-inflammatories and healers. It should help you. Stay away from those kind of foods. You want to stay away from too active of a food, too acidic of a food. Having ulcerative colitis for 14 years. See, the problem is you have 14 years of acid sitting interstitially around your cells. 14 years. So you can imagine your cells aren't sitting there in a cheery state. So we need to get you moving. And to have an MI like this and 5 stents, it just shows you that your adrenals are way down, man. Because you don't see plaquing or the use of calcium in acidosis unless your adrenals are way down. Because the body can use adrenal steroids for this. And when your body's adrenals are down and steroids are down, you're going to see cholesterol and calcium being used. And for there, then you have obstructions developing that restricts the flow of energy, whether it's blood, nerve, or lymph itself. That's simple. Now, avoiding stuff that is good for you. Afraid that it would set off a flare because it isn't good for me. So you're going to use a lot of herbal anti-inflammatories, but that's fine because they're antacids. They heal and soothe the mucosa. But your burn, in my opinion, is inside out, through the mucosa. I should eat now for my heart. I can't or avoid for fear of a flare. Well, the thing for the heart is you want fruits and berries and melons for the heart. These are high flavonoids, and that's specific for vascular and cardiac tissue. So you really want high flavonoids. You want to really run to your grapes and run to your subacid fruits. That's your remedy. Clean all these arteries out. Get these. If you have calcifications, it'll dissolve. Cholesterol will dissolve and move out as long as the lymph pathway is open for that. And that's what you got to do, is finally get those adrenals up, Jeff, get your kidneys filtering, and start moving this lymph out. Because if you don't, this is just the start. How bad this is just the start. You haven't seen up here yet. Strokes, things like this, and you're only 44 years old, man. This is why we all need to do this. The Jeffs of the world. And then Jeff, once he gets himself cleaned up, he can help others because he already has the heart to do that. He went into nursing. But it sounds like a good guy. They couldn't handle him. You know, the nurse, I didn't take nursing, but I had to go into the tech to get IV therapy down and a few other things I wanted to learn. And let me tell you, they couldn't hardly take me either. I was civil, but it was hard to be, especially when it came to chemo. Well, that was tough for me. I don't take this criminality well that's going on here on this planet. Don't do it well. And some of us have to. We're here for the God state, you know. That's how it gets here. And so we have to stand up for that principle. So always stand up for the God principle, always. It was set off of my diet. Now I know it might be a bit of a Rubik's Cube, but can you take a crack at where I can start? That's not a Rubik's Cube. No, you have a lot of your cases, Jeff. We get a ton of these cases. This is actually a common case, and for you YouTuber or your Facebook, this is a common case. Now, again, we're getting more tools to help, like the stomach tea, great anti-inflammatory. The Heal All, still great anti-inflammatory. You can go out and get marshmallow root, slippery elm, even chamomile is somewhat soothing to smooth muscle tissue. You can use these, still knowing that it's an interstitial problem, a lymph problem that's not filtering through the kidney, so you got to address that always. So, but while you're addressing that, you can pick up all these other things and get this gentleman detoxed, or you can detox himself, of course, you know, and then start rebuilding these areas that have been broken down a little bit on him. I have a referral for pain management right now for the fibro, and they are talking about injections, which seems stupid at best. Jeff Jones, don't you fall into that, my friend, or you've got to do something to yourself and you're not going to like. You wreck those adrenals anymore, and you're not going to like how that's going to do you. You got to get them up. Start getting more neurotransmitters, more steroids, and they can act as antacids or anti-inflammatories. Therefore, you can save so much plaquing. Also, at the same time, you got to remove that which obstructs. And of course, that's going to be an alkaline detoxification procedure. That's a hydrating, a cationic experience. Don't know if this will hit right behind the other email. Hope so. The rocket scientist doctors thought I had a lipoma in my neck shoulder that was causing pain before my heart attack. They removed it a few months after the heart attack, and it turned out to be 3 inflamed lymph nodes. Is that proof enough? Proof enough that it's your lymph system, Jeff? Absolutely. The sad thing to this is you allow them remove the lymph nodes, Jeff, and listen, man, you just watch out. Get your body detoxed now. Get on that high raw now. Because let me tell you, these lymph nodes have cells feeding into them, and they're around your head and neck. And this is serious stuff, guys. This is serious stuff. If these lymph nodes feed into some serious areas, Jeff could have some serious lymphedema of the head and throat area, and this would be beyond devastating. So, Jeff, get your butt in gear and get on this, and don't let anybody remove lymph nodes ever again. These docs are freaking crazy. You know, one day, a medical doctor is going to have to prove the reason why they remove the lymph node or go to jail. Because we've got a ton of cases and it's just not worth going there. But you guys need to know truth. You know, when you remove a lymph node, and this gentleman that's working with me with his dad, you know, the YouTuber that's working with me with his dad can put this right out there to you, what his dad's going through from the removed lymph nodes. And the problem is, I mean, we're good, but we're not magic. We're good, but you know, we depend upon science and everything else. The right science, though. We depend upon the way things are built in the universe and the tools we have. Because there are certain things that you just can't make a new lymph node puff up overnight. Well, you got cells feeding into those lymph nodes. So they thought it was a lipoma. It was 2 inflamed lymph nodes. Those son of a bitches. God. Jeff, do not let them hurt you anymore, man. Now, of course, you had to have stents to stay alive. But you now have to fix the problem, Jeff. I'm here for you if you need it, okay? And get your butt moving. This is from John Doe. What can you do about cigarettes? Well, I've thought that the approach on cigarettes wouldn't be to try to stop them consciously, because I've always said that what one doesn't understand is when you tell yourself you've got to quit, you're really telling yourself you're a smoker subconsciously, and that you're going to be a smoker, you know. And so you're back-feeding yourself the fact that you're a smoker. When you want to develop something new, you have to drop thought forms. It's like in AA, Alcohol Anonymous, where they say, I'm a recovering, you know, you go around the room and you tell your story, and I'm a recovering alcoholic for 10 years, and I knew a guy in AA down here, he used to go, I'm a recovering alcoholic for 30 years. That just tells them that they're telling people that they're still alcoholics, but they're in the recovering stages, and I think it's a bunch of crap. You either are or you're not. Make up your mind. It's like anything else. When you make up your mind, you're done, you're done. If not, you're still a smoker. With that said, get yourself healthy. Go after the health. Don't think about smoking. Occupy your attention with something that excites you, like getting healthy, feeling good, being where, out-of-body travels. Work on something else that excites you, that turns you on. Because people that smoke aren't happy, as a rule. They're not taking care of themselves. They're kind of lost in that way. So you need to find yourself. You need to go out somewhere where you're alone, hug yourself and go, I'm pretty good. I don't need to do things that are hurting me, because it's the smoke that you're bringing in that's acidic, and it bypasses the liver, so it's burning the lungs. So anybody that has cystic fibrosis, or the lady with the lung fibrosis, as she said, that's how you get it. You know, you got to be real careful bringing in acids. I would say go to those e-cigarettes or whatever. I don't know. It seems to be the end thing. But always try to cut down, you know, cut them in half, or, you know, try to do the least you can. But I can tell you, if you keep detoxifying, there's a day, and it happens to everyone, it's just like, nope, these are done. And you're done. There are some herbs like lobelia that if you take them, it makes cigarettes taste horrible. So you can do a number of those things. I've been watching your videos for about a year. Thank you for making them. Thank you for watching them. Kedra. Kedra? I am grateful for your... Oh, thanks. I have been eating mostly raw for almost a year. That's pretty good. I've been eating more mono meals. That's even better, man. I like mono meals. Actually, it's the healthiest way to eat. People don't get that because we're raised differently. Or national, like the American Dietetics Association and all these pseudo, we know about health and this is what you should eat, people. Where you have to have a milk and you have to have a protein and you have to have a vegetable and you have to have a starch. What they don't friggin' get is food combinations. All these people together at the same meal don't mix. You know, these people don't even get proper food combinations. They don't get acid and base. They don't get any of this. Well, how can you tell people what to eat if you don't understand health? Or how to get healthy? How can you tell people to eat this way to get healthy? That's just so asinine to me, so stupid. How these people ever got to be any type of authority is a shock to me. I don't know how that ever happened. We live in such a pseudo-society right now, it's not even funny. People live in falsities and untruths like they were truths. It's amazing. Let me see here. Meals, particularly grapes, and finally got my kidneys filtering. Yeah, Kendra, good deal. Yeah, my question is, when I eat just grapes, mono meal, I get really tired and have to lay down. Sometimes I even fall asleep. Why would this happen? Adrenal glands. Work on your adrenal glands. That's sugar metabolism. And what can happen? It's probably running you into low blood sugar, not high blood sugar, believe it or not. You can check, get a little, you know, they're cheap. Get a little blood sugar tester at the drugstore and then test yourself and see. And you'll see if it's high or low, but probably low. Grapes are so cleansing to the kidneys and everything. It's the proteins that are stimulants, and the coffees and everything that's stimulants that keep everything hypered and stimulated. When you go on raw, especially the fruits and especially the high vibrate, oh, this is nice. The mind quits chattering. You start feeling more peaceful. You guys have experienced that already. Fasting does the same thing. You just settle down in more of a peaceful feeling, a sense of energy and peace and calm. So, you know, that's what, but if you have weak adrenals, it really goes down because there's nothing to hyperstimulate the adrenals to give you more neurotransmitters. There's nothing there to create more activity. It is there to relax you. Even though high energy does not mean nervousness and jitteriness. No, that's not high energy. High energy is consciousness, is awareness, is power. And, you know, irritation like that is a lack of energy. You take the energy out of the nervous system and they'll start spasming and convulsing. Oh, yeah, you give energy to the nervous system and you're on, baby. So it's a big difference, you know. And it just shows probably your adrenal glands, which is sugar metabolism. Wouldn't matter what it would be. And you might look at that, do a fungal kill out of your body as well with that, my friend. And get your kidneys filtering, that whole thing. Adrenals up, kidneys filtering, get your lymph moving. And I do some herbs on that and work on that for a while and get that done. Then you won't. Then you'll go on a great fast. You go, oh, wait a minute, I got to cut this down. I got too much energy. One more. Because people bitch about them being too long now. But I don't always give a chance to do them, guys. I just chew them whenever I can get a chance to do them. This is my day off. I thought I'd come right in here and do videos. But I like to sit at the house once in a while and remember who I am. This is Missy. Hey, Missy. I like your name. Hi, Dr. Morse. Love your videos. Thank you, sweetheart. You have discussed fruit and proteins and its overuse or overemphasis. What about fats, though? Well, that's a good question. I think the same thing can be said about fats. I think an order of need is probably going to see sugars, either aminos or fatty acids, and then the other. I'm going to say I think it goes in this direction. I think that you're looking at sugars number 1, aminos number 2, and fatty acids number 3. That's how I've always seen it to be. But then I used to have a scale to all that, and it's like so many years pass. Year after year after year. It's my 43rd or 44th year. And a lot of things you just don't always remember. And I send my mind to try to find in the Akashic records where I have that stored, but sometimes it doesn't always find it. But it's enough to say some things that there's just so much through the years that I've pounded in, because someone asked me the other day, how I came to understand all this. And the thing is, I am just a country boy in that way. And I took a test for the military once. It showed me down in the English as being on the lower side, like, high school level English or something. And of course, I understand that. The school I went to was a country school, and the college I went to for naturopathy and biochemistry, these are schools that teach just that. So you don't have a lot of that as well. But I finished in the top 2 percentile of intelligence on the globe. So the point with that, it has always been my point, is academics does not yield awareness. Okay, you must learn that, and not judge others because they can't pronunciate a word this long. Because that person also could hold a key to something else that could be vital to the universe. That's just not their excitement. Each and every one, none of you guys, don't ever label yourselves as stupid. Some people, if they're not academically inclined, think they're unintelligent and stupid. Don't ever assume that. As soul, you can put your attention on anything you want, and you can accomplish anything you want. Don't let anybody ever tell you you can't. It's all about your desire to accomplish that, your excitement and your journey. Some people just don't want to know, and they don't learn. But you can learn because we're all this incredible soul. So there's no one that can't learn. They don't want to. And that's okay. Maybe their journey's in another way. Who cares? So judgment calls. You can't judge someone's awareness on their academics, because you could have a spiritual being come in here. They don't know the academics of this planet, and you judge this creature? I don't think so. These guys are powerful beings. So I think fatty acids are essential that come in, but I think, again, if we get into the mind, we're talking in grooves like this. And if you want to keep it even more simple, just eat the foods nature supplied for your body. Fruits, berries, melons. If you want a salad, okay. You can't help but be incredibly healthy with that. But detox and rebuild first. Well, you got to eat that way to do that, okay? But get into the botanicals. Learn how to use them, because they're your sweethearts. These babies are the sweethearts of the world, and they're here for you. They're made here for you. I don't know about the fungi of the world. Just don't know. I'm not a real fungi person, even though I've grown them for years and played with the... even forgot. But anyway, I think foods come as they should. Now, we can always argue topsoils, and I can turn around and argue root growth. We can argue, but you do the best you can. When you compare islander fruit to what we're eating outside of the islands, I mean, it's disgusting. And if you're looking at a store-bought fruit and you think, oh, it's not organic, it's full of pesticides, wash it, clean it, and eat it, because it's better than dead animals, it's better than grains, it's better than beans, it's better than all the other crap. With issues around thyroid, Hashis, and being careful, I like you. I like Missy. That's funny. And being careful, read diabetes / insulin resistant bull crap, etc., and low adrenals and raising sugar levels, stressing adrenals, is sugar levels don't stress adrenals. Is it a catch-22, or will it right itself when we address adrenals? Aha! Yeah, oh yeah. If you have thyroid issues, you know, again, I'll say it will right itself when you address your lymph system. And the reason it will, because you're using herbs to, one, get in and rebuild kidneys and adrenals, and you're getting the glands up and running, you're moving what suppresses and breaks down tissue, and then, of course, it's such a high energetic hit, it's such a tissue hit that cells rebuild themselves in their genetic slumbers. How cool is that? So it's a win-win-win-win-win all the way around. You know, it's just taking you from Hellville to Wellville. That's the art of it. And the science is there. The art is taking someone in these advanced stages and moving them through. Even with ulcerative colitis, Jeff's going to have some, you know, some tough ways here and there because he's been burning for 14 years. You're not going to just take someone that's burning for 14 years and sit them in a tub of water and cool them down. It's going to take a while to get in to those interstitial levels and hydrate that and pull that acidosis out of there. It's just going to take a while, and you got to get the kidneys filtering to do it. And that's why the herbs are so great, because they're anti-inflammatory. They heal and soothe while you're doing the work. So it's all good, isn't it? I am a bit nervous about eating a lot of fruit. You don't have to be a bit nervous, my dear. If you have weak adrenals, fix them. If you have blood sugar problems, you're going to have them with anything anyway. And you're going to have less with simple sugars. How about that one? Even though I love it, eat your fruit, sweetheart, and quit worrying about it. I was told to have fats with it. Stop it. Isn't that stupid? Have fats of slow absorption. Jesus Christ. I don't know where stupid people come in and tell you stuff like that. There's people that don't know what they're talking about. You don't see a primate doing crap like that. You see anybody doing like that. You eat the fruit, it cleans. Matter of fact, fruits open up absorption. Thank you. No. That's all ridiculous thinking, honey. All ridiculous thinking. So could you please explore this with us? Fats. Absolutely. Thanks, Missy. And you don't mix fats with fruits and go that way, because you know what? You can cause fermentation if you go that way. I'm done anyway. There you go. Oh, okay. Okay, I will do that. I'm done anyway here.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
All right. If you had to close, do you want to close out, say any?
Yeah, I'm going to close out right now, and then we can... Huh?
Closing statement?
Closing statement?
Yeah.
Drew has a closing statement.
Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Or a great week by the time the video's up.
Exactly.
Right?
By the time this video's up, it'll be the week. They won't get it up this weekend, right?
Yep.
Yeah. All right, we love you guys. Don't worry about things like that. When you're thinking about it, you got to slow the sugar down. Why get rid of that whole concept? Those are people wallowing in the mind, and they'll never find truth, and they'll keep trying to do this and that, and they're trying this because this, and it's like, that's crazy talking. You don't see anybody thinking in that way in the animal kingdom. Yes, we've gotten ourselves way out there, and there's no question. I get your point, Missy, but at the same time, you don't have to think in those kind of ways. If you're having sugar metabolism problems, you fix your adrenal glands. It's that simple. If you're not trying to slow up absorption of anything, especially the fruits, you would never want to slow up absorption of anything. I don't know what this person's even thinking, you know. It's out of tune, out of touch with the way life works as far as I'm concerned. So have fun, Missy, on this, and don't worry about a thing. You know, go after this. If you're so acidic that fruit's too aggressive initially, then go with 50% solid material and 50% fruits until you get your lymph system halfway cleaned up and things like that, and then jump the rest of the vegetables and go for the fruits for a while. You know, when you're done detoxing, 50-50 is okay. Who cares? But if you want to dig deep in the body, go all fruit. You got to get that high. But if you're in the tropics and you go all fruit, you'll never want to go back to vegetables. It's just hard to go back. Till you get there, no. So balance is always the key anyway. But if you need help, Missy, call us. We'll be glad to help you if you have any problems with that. But listening to others on full stuff like that can lead you down a bad road. We have to have fatty acids, comes abundantly, and the need of it. You know, the trouble is when you get into fats. Remember, the FDA came down on Gerson because they were using 100 IUs of beta-carotene and vitamin A. Well, as a rule, a lot of people were using those at those levels. But I have to concur that lipids, you know, you have to be careful, ketosis and everything else. So too much lipids is not good either. That's why simple foods have the ratios of sugars to fatty acids to amino acids as what you need. You don't have to think about it, and I wouldn't. Because what it's going to do to you. You're going to be you're going to lose more energy in thought and worry than trying to find something that would because there is nothing. So you're losing energy and by worry and thought and all that when you could use that and be happy because then just eat it. Don't worry about it. That's what all the other people do and all the other creatures do. But we got some people out there that they're locked in their minds and it's if and but and my. These people never took themselves to Wellville. So if you're listening to people that never took themselves to Wellville, maybe you better change. Love you guys. Missy, you do well. If you have any problem with that, let us know. Jeff, head on there. Clean yourselves out. Thank you all for your questions. And it's time that I got to go. I love you all. When you get this, take the day for yourself. Take time for yourself and enjoy yourself. You're all beautiful. Everyone I've met from you guys, you're just beautiful, beautiful people. And we need you. Remember, you're the light in the darkness down here. And be the light. Be the God force on the planet. Show people what it's like to be good and loving and respectful and humble. Because if you're not, God has a way of whooping your little butt. Good night. We love you. May the blessings be.